Culture Pastor.
So, Cody, when I was a kid, we would go to the zoo. You ever been to the zoo?
Which one?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just the feeling of going to the zoo in the summertime.
All the zoos.
Yeah. I used to go to the Topeka Zoo because that's where I lived when I was a kid. And the Topeka Zoo I have found in older age is like the perfect size. It's not an all-day affair, right?
It is not.
Which is good because I like that. But the kids are happy about it. Anyways, when I used to go when I was a kid, they had this place there that called the Tropical Rainforest. It's this big domed building. And you would walk in, and when you would walk in, it would immediately, you would know you were in a different ecosystem, right? There's vegetation everywhere. There's birds flying around and like that aren't native to Kansas. And the big thing was you struggled to breathe because the air became instantly thick and your glasses would fog up.
Those were just a few of the problems with the tropical dome.
It was super hot. And I thought, you know what? This is cool and all, and I like seeing different animals, but I'm never living in the tropics.
The moment I knew that I wasn't going to live in the tropics was visiting that zoo as an older child and a bat pooping on me.
Yeah, there were bats in there. Anyways, flash forward to now, and I walk out of my house in Kansas, and I'm in a tropical rainforest, Cody. My glasses fog up. The air's thick. No kidding, I almost hit an iguana on the way to work today.
So I had a professor in college who asked me where I was originally from, and I'm like, Chanute, and he's like, oh, you're in southeast Kansas. It's basically the Okefenokee Swamp. And I'm like, you're not wrong. And it's days like this.
Yeah,
I wonder about my life choices.
I just don't remember. I don't remember days like yesterday and today, and when I was growing up. Although I remember hot days, but the humidity. Like, look, I don't care if it's 100 degrees.
If it's a dry heat, I'm great.
That wouldn't be the big deal. The big deal is the humidity's ridiculous. It's insane.
So I did a mission trip once to New Orleans after Katrina, and the humidity was like 100%, and like it would get up to like 105 while we were there.
Yeah,
it feels exactly like that.
So I think I need to do what everyone expects us to do and wants us to do as pastors, and we need to just say a little prayer for our air conditioners for the week, because I'm just really concerned. I'm like, Lord, please, Lord, just stay with our air conditioners. Don't let them make it through the week. If we can make it through the week, we'll be all right.
Yes.
In Jesus' name. Make it happen, Lord. Stay with my air conditioner. It's like the little engine that could. Good morning. No, good afternoon.
Good day to you.
It's weird when you start at noon because I'm never sure what to say, but wherever you're at, maybe we got different time zone people.
Greetings and salutations.
That was fancy. Welcome. Hey, this is Pop Culture Pastor. Stick around. We're gonna talk about some things and play some good music. All right, Cody. I was looking at the news, and it's been a particularly light hurricane season so far for the Atlantic.
It has.
Until just the last few days, where all of a sudden they had like 3 tropical systems ratchet up. 3!
I feel like there's one in the Midwest.
It's true. Except without the breeze. They're tracking multiple tropical systems, dubbed Franklin, Emily, and Gert.
Rooting for you, Gert.
Gert, I'm already of the opinion that Gert's going to become a hurricane and is going to cause problems because Gert always does.
That sounds like the Gert I know.
Hurricane Gert. And it's fun to say.
So I had a friend growing up named Garrett, and we called him Gert.
Oh, I'm sure he loved that.
I think he did. It was a term of endearment.
Tropical storm Franklin is projected to make landfall today in Hispaniola,
Oh.
the island comprising of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. That's in the news report. Because when I read Hispaniola, I was like, oh, will it be hitting Christopher Columbus too? Or, does anyone still call it that? I just figured people would call it, Haiti or the Dominican Republic.
Not today, buddy.
Emily is originating in the central Atlantic, somewhere in there, and is weakened to a tropical depression. And similarly, Gert, they say, faces a short lifespan and poses no threat to land, with its winds hovering at 30 miles per hour. That's not even a depression around here. That's just weather.
That is what we call an not so windy day in the SEK.
Honestly, we do get high winds in this part of the world, in this part of the country, and just randomly. Like, it's nothing here to have days where it's, I would say, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts, and sunny skies.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about? Is there a reason for that? I'm sure there's some sort of real thing with the Gulf Stream or whatever.
Oh,
I'm just making up words.
Yeah, if I had my friend from college who wanted to be a meteorologist, he could explain it. But you got the wrong guy for this big weather breaking news / pattern.
If it's not explicitly spelled out in the weather report, here's our normal weather report here at Pop Culture Pastor. Weather's happening. It's hot outside. My glasses are fogging up. It's terrible. I think we're being what's the term the kids use when you're being fooled by things online? Is that catfished? Or we're being catfished into thinking.
Maybe.
Am I using that term right?
Well, no, it's usually used with dating.
Well, yeah, I know. I know that's how it started. This week we read about some, Stranger Things fan thought she was talking to the real actor on the show and sent him money. And I'm just like, why would you think
he needed that $10,000?
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about it's sort of the same way that gaslighting has gotten bigger than the ultra specific definition it used to have.
I mean, I've heard catfish used in other connotations.
Yes. So I don't know whether we're all just being catfished or gaslit. I don't even know. When scientists or businessmen are like, I'm going to lead missions to Mars and we're going to put people living on Mars. Because what I want to say is is there anyone actually calling for this? Is there actually a demand for this supply that these businessmen seem to want to do? What kind of person says, yeah, I'm signing up for that. I'm going to go live on Mars? Because there's no return trip on that. You just go.
It's not ideal.
And so I just don't believe it. I think we're being gaslit or catfished or whatever. And I think these businessmen are just trying to make hype for something that they want to sell. And I don't even believe that any of them really can do it.
I know one person that is really wanting this. His name is Harlan Williams. Because
the Rocket Man?
Rocket Man, indeed.
From the movie?
Yes.
Does he really want to do that? Does he really want to?
I like to think he wants to, for real, go to space and live on Mars, not just do it in a movie.
I've never seen that movie, but I'm sure it was atrocious.
My childhood memory says it was great. I haven't watched it in 25 years, so.
Our childhood memories can sometimes lie to us.
How dare you?
Yeah. Because, my childhood memory tells me that He-Man was great.
He-Man is fantastic.
No. Anyways, I'm reading this article, And now you got a guy who wants to send 1,000 people to a floating space colony in Venus's atmosphere.
What?
And I'm just like,
that's the wrong direction.
I know. And it's floating. Do we even have the technology for that? Or are you just saying stuff?
I like to think it's kind of like those GoFundMe scams where people are like, oh, I'm really dying. Send me all this money. And then, like, you see them 7 years later and they look the same as they did 7 years ago, but they're driving a nice Lexus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think something you're saying in there is right. And I think, you're trying to be entertaining. You're trying to say something that would make us smile. But I think there's truth in that. I think you have people who would consider themselves entrepreneurial, but they're just selling dreams. Like they don't have any way there's no technology for this, right? A floating colony on Venus. Yeah, I have the technology for it right here. I'll just have the butler go get it out of my hot air balloon. Like what? No, there's no technology for this. And we're not close to the technology for that.
Unless.
Oh no, please don't say aliens.
They are friends with my friend Tom DeLong and know the truth.
So we've got another one of these businessmen / entrepreneurs / swindlers, I guess I would say. I don't know. I don't know if he is or not, but he's talking about a floating space colony in Venus's atmosphere by the year 2050.
I think we're going the wrong direction.
Now, Venus, sometimes dubbed the hell planet.
That sounds accurate.
Because its atmosphere consists of high-speed winds that churn up toxic levels of carbon dioxide and clouds of sulfuric acid.
Sounds like Kansas on a hot July or August day.
This dude who, I'll give you his name. His name is Guillermo Sonline.
Guillermo
apparently cites some research that there's a tiny portion of Venus's atmosphere that might be survivable for a human colony. Well, this just sounds right, doesn't it?
Well, if you can name and claim that tiny space.
We don't fully understand the processes of how our atmosphere and climate and everything works. And this dude's saying, well, there's a tiny piece of Venus's atmosphere that I'm sure is unchanging. Always the same. Who's doing this? Who's going to Venus? He's like Jerry Maguire. He's like, who's coming with me? Like, this dude's not going. I guarantee this dude's not going because he wouldn't be able to enjoy all his sweet, sweet Venus colony money.
Oh yeah. Like you can't spend that up there.
I guess I just don't trust these entrepreneurs. I don't trust them because you're not going, are you? Well, then I don't trust you. I don't trust anyone that's trying to sell me a ticket somewhere where they're not going to go.
/ like with the tragic events of this past summer of the submersible that even if you are willing to go, if it sounds far-fetched and dangerous, it is. What are the odds that something good can come of this?
It's interesting you mentioned the submersible because there's a connection.
What?
Yeah. So you got this guy who wants to sell people on a colony in Venus's atmosphere, a floating colony.
Yes.
In Venus's atmosphere, which already sounds like, dude, what is it you're selling? What are you selling? That's the crazy thing about entrepreneurs these days is I feel like half of them are trying to sell stuff that's not real. It's not. Well, it will be in 2050 or you'll be long gone with my money, huh?
So late 1800s, early 1900s, you got people selling snake oil.
Mm-hmm.
And there is actually at least a product there, whether it does what it claims it does. But these people are like, no, I have the recipe for snake oil. You just got to trust me. Here in a few years, it'll be here. And it will cure everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. And you mentioned that, hey, maybe sometimes these things, when they sound a little too good to be true, maybe they are because, the people haven't put the proper research in to find out exactly what they're going to. You referenced the Ocean's Gate submarine debacle. Guillermo Sonline, the guy who's got this plan to go to Venus, you might be interested to know, is the co-founder of OceanGate.
Oh.
He left OceanGate in 2016 and has since founded Humans to Venus, a nonprofit with a name as goofy as its mission. Humans to Venus's goal is to explore Venus as a potential long-term destination for humanity and create the largest global community of general and professional Venus enthusiasts. This dude's full of junk.
He is. Like, what do you mean? A nonprofit?
No.
For going to Venus.
I guarantee there's profit involved. I don't know much, Cody. I am not the smartest man on the face of the planet, but I know this. There's profit in this somewhere. This dude's just not. Again, are you going to Venus?
No.
If the answer is anything but, yes, I'm leaving tomorrow, then there's profit in this for you.
Yep.
Does this guy think we're idiots?
Yes.
Oh, I left that whole other idea because we'd made all the money we could, because then it got to the point where we actually have to put down a canister into the depths of the ocean you're not supposed to go to. And so I went on to some other money-making venture. I'm not fooled, Guillermo.
And you're bringing shame to all other Guillermos by doing this.
Craziness. That's crazy. That's crazy. And listen, I'm just going to say it. Don't give that guy money. Don't. And who would? I'm just still sitting here thinking, who's like, oh yeah, sign me up. I want to go to Venus.
Ashton Kutcher, don't do it.
Where did that come from? Why Ashton?
Because he had a ticket to actually do the thing that William Shatner did.
Oh, did he?
But Mila Kunis talked him out of it.
Mila Kunis. Logical, grounded, smart. That's a good wife.
Yeah.
Talked to Ashton out of it, although William Shatner was fine. And he had he stumbled upon some really deep truths when he went up there.
Yeah, but my friend Will, he's lived a good life.
Yeah.
Ashton still has kids.
Yeah, William Shatner's like 148. So, something happens, no big deal. He's lived a good life. I lived a good life. Okay, Kane, you may be the perfect person to talk to about this too, because you lived closer to them than I did.
Okay.
Have you been to Australia?
I have.
You've been to Australia. Okay. What's that like in general? Like, is it a lot different than here? It seems like people are a little different.
Yeah, it's similar to New Zealand, except a little more Australian.
A little more what?
Australian.
Oh.
Yeah, it's, I guess New Zealand and Australia have their own kind of culture, and it is a little bit different from here. It's still I'd say a Western culture type thing, but it is different than the United States.
So I guess what I'm getting at is it seems a little wild,
Yeah.
like Wild West type, not so much in that there's cowboys and shootouts or anything like that, but just that, man, first of all, Australia scares me from a wildlife perspective. I grew up watching The Crocodile Hunter and, no, thank you.
It really does seem like everything there wants to kill you.
Yes.
Whether it's a bug or an animal or a crocodile or whatever, which is a stark contrast from New Zealand where nothing wants to kill you.
You see?
We have no poisonous snakes or spiders or anything like that.
I would love to go to New Zealand. It sounds wonderful. When I think about Australia and it being starting off as a prison colony, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense to me. You send people there to die. Why would anyone live there? Everything there, like, I don't know. It seems like you're right. Everything there wants to kill you. It's like Australia came from some other alien planet and God just dropped it on the earth. It's kind of added it after the fact. It was like, hey, there was this other planet. I was tinkering around with some things and with some weird things were growing. I'm just going to drop it there and see what happens. Anyways, I asked that because I saw a TikTok video that I want to talk about with you. And it was in a McDonald's fast food drive-thru in Australia. They captured a video of something unusual. and it has to do with the occupants of the car.
Okay.
And so, here in the States, it's not weird. It's not weird for us to have an animal in our car, like a dog.
Yep.
A lot of people are big fans of the dogs. Mm-hmm. And even in our little town, you see a lot of people drive around the dog with its head sticking out the car door. Because I don't know what it is with dogs, why they like that so much. But man, you get a dog in a car and he just loves to stick his head out the window and let the wind flow through his ears or his tongue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Drool flying everywhere. But yeah, dogs are great for that. But this person in Australia had a different idea.
Okay.
About the animal in their car. And so we'll talk about that when we come back. So picture this, Kane. You're hungry and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go to McDonald's, but you're in Australia. Mm-hmm. And so things are just a little different there. And you go hit the drive-thru at the McDonald's and you see, there's a line, there's other people in line. And this TikTok video shows something kind of interesting. This person shows up in the McDonald's drive-thru in Australia with a horse in the back seat. Like literally it's a horse.
Surely it can't have been a big horse.
I mean, it's like a little horse, like little Sebastian.
Yeah.
On Parks and Rec, like it's
on
one of those little tiny horses, but it's definitely a horse, and it's got like the reins thing on its mouth, like so
the bit in its mouth.
The bit, yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I'm not a country guy. I didn't grow up around this stuff. Like to me, the horse is just foreign enough. Mm-hmm. Like horses scare me, maybe because I got kicked by one when I was 5.
Okay.
I'd never been out in the country. I'd always been a city boy, and nobody told me you don't stand behind him and slap him on the butt. I just saw that on TV, and so I was a kid. And I was like, oh, and then bam!
Yeah,
I got kicked in the thigh.
Oh,
yeah. I have side note. I have this area of my left leg I don't have any nerve. My nerve endings were damaged.
Wow.
Where the horse kicked me, and I have a numb spot where it kicked me to this day. Something that happened 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. The moral of the story is horses kick hard.
Yeah, that's strong.
And I'm listen, in the things on my body it could have kicked, I'm really glad it hit my thigh.
Yeah. Things could have gone a lot worse.
There could have been some serious damage there, Kane. Mm-hmm. Anyway, horses scare me. And so I'm watching this viral TikTok video of this horse in this guy's back seat. And he took it to McDonald's. He took it on a drive.
As you do in Australia.
Is this an Australian thing? Like, what is happening there?
That's the first time I've heard of that. I was kind of wondering if it was going to be something like a kangaroo or a pet crocodile or something like really out there in Australian, but
yeah,
a horse is pretty bizarre.
Well, so like something in America that would be rare, but I think you could see it, is the snake guy.
Okay.
Everyone knows a snake guy here. Mm-hmm. You've got the guy who's like got the huge snake in the case in their home and they feed it like small animals.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is my snake. And my pet snake, Reggie, and occasionally when I have guests, I take him out to freak them out. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you love it. You love it. Here, let me just put him on your neck. Like this is an animal that when in the wild strangles things. Yeah. Oh, yes, sure. I don't mind. Put that on my neck. Thank you.
Yeah.
This feels
no,
great.
You. No, thank you. I would say no.
I'm super comfortable with this. But Snake Guy doesn't care because his whole goal in life is to make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm convinced that's what it is.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with Horse Guy. Australian Horse Guy? Oh, no, he had a different plan in mind. To go to McDonald's, and I'll tell you to get what? So I know what you're thinking, Kane, and don't go there. He wasn't going to McDonald's to give his horse cow. He wasn't getting a burger for the horse. Everyone calm down. I can just hear all my animal activist people being like, what was he doing with that horse at McDonald's? Feeding him a cow? That's not right. I don't know. Is that not right? I assume, it just seems weird.
Yeah, they're not meat eaters.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah, that would.
Okay, yeah. So horse wouldn't eat meat anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But you know what it does eat? Ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in this viral video, the guy with the horse in his back seat in Australia. By the way, this car is like a hatchback. This is a little car.
It's not like a big American SUV. It's
No.
just a tiny little thing.
No, so it's quite shocking to see this horse poke its head out. And it's doing the same thing a dog does.
Yeah.
It's got its head out the window, just kind of taking everything in. And when they get up to the window, the driver gets handed an ice cream cone and he just gives it to the horse. Mm-hmm. And the horse looks like he's enjoying this ice cream cone.
I can picture that.
And I'm like, well, Australia, isn't that delightful? Isn't that just charming? I still don't want a horse in my back seat because I've seen what they do in the parade. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I can't fit the street cleaner in the back of my car to clean up the mess. Mm-hmm. But it was actually sort of. You wonder if that's something that they regularly do or they intended to just cause a scene. Maybe he's got a little snake guy in him.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to just cause a scene, make everyone uncomfortable or kind of like, oh, what is that? That's a horse in the back of a car. But then seeing it eat the ice cream was just kind of delightful. Mm. Horses like ice cream.
Apparently.
And the McDonald's ice cream machine in Australia, apparently it works.
Yeah.
It's never broken. Otherwise, that horse gonna go on the rampage.
Yeah.
This horse wants his ice cream and he wants it now. Fix the ice cream machine. That's like this is why does every food place have their thing? We always add that to the motto. That's the joke.
Yeah.
So it's like McDonald's, I'm loving it, but not the ice cream after 8 because the machine's definitely broken. Right? We always add that. So at our Arby's here, we have an Arby's here in our little town. It's part of a gas station, which, take that as you will. I don't know what you think when you think that. But what you're thinking is probably true. But they have a drive-through, and it's funny because you never get your food at the window. I cannot explain this. You just never get your food at the window. You pay at the window, and then they ask you to pull up next to the trash can. Mm-hmm. Always. Every time I've ever been there. And so, with Arby's, it's Arby's. We have the meats right up there next to that trash can. You see what I'm doing? So McDonald's could be in Australia, it'd be I'm loving it. Especially that horse who likes our ice cream where the machine's never broken. There you go. That's just something fun I like to do with slogans.
There we go.
Yeah. So a horse in a car getting McDonald's ice cream. That's your delightful story for the day. Cody, many years ago, I was at a Barnes and Noble or something. And you know how some books they have at those bigger bookstores, they'll have the sticker on it that says autographed copy or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny because I took a picture of it with my phone. I still have it in my phone, but it was a Bible. And it had that autographed copy sticker on it. And I was like, oh, what? Noise. Who signed this?
This one's going to be worth some serious money.
Well, I was reminded of that when you sent me this Facebook Marketplace ad from Savannah, Georgia. First of all, Facebook Marketplace is entertainment gold sometimes.
It is.
Because you can find all sorts of hilarious things on Facebook Marketplace, and it can be a real time suck.
It can be.
But somebody is selling something in Savannah, Georgia that I think us Christians need to pay attention to.
Keep your eye on it.
It appears to be a just, janky old Bible that looks like it's from the 80s. That was like a church copy, that they would put in the pews.
Oh, yeah. We still have them at my church.
It's got that kind of the worst color, shade brown color. It says Holy Bible on the front. And this guy in Georgia is selling it for $20,000.
Yeah.
And you're probably wondering why. You're like, well, why is this Bible worth so much? Well, because there's a message on the front page, on the cover. So you turn the cover and it says, Nick, keep on trucking. Love, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's written in cursive with a ballpoint pen. And so you might look at that and you go your natural conclusion would be what, Cody? You'd be like, Well, Nick had a really good friend in Jesus. Jesus was probably Hispanic.
No, my first thought is Nick was besties with the savior of the whole universe.
You and this guy both who found this, because this is what the ad says. It says Vintage Bible. True.
It is.
Appears signed by Jesus himself. Oh, well, he's not wrong. I just got a little lightheaded because I laughed so hard. Cash and carry only, willing to have authenticated for the buyer. Now, hold on. How are you going to authenticate this, sir?
Oh, that's great.
Serious offers only, cash only, no Western Union or check. Meet somewhere safe, like Walmart where I work.
So I feel that you could only purchase this if your name was Nick. That is a prerequisite of the purchase. And that's probably why it's only worth $20,000.
Because it's personalized?
Yes.
The Son of God wrote out a personal message to Nick, and therefore it's worth less. I mean, when I get to heaven, Cody, what I really want to hear is Jesus. You know, some people, Christians, have all these ideas. They want to hear Jesus say, you know, maybe you want to hear him say, welcome, or hey, I've been waiting for you. Or if you want to get biblical, they want to hear Jesus say, well done, good and faithful servant. You know what I want to hear him say?
What?
Keep on trucking.
That's the motivation I need.
First of all, it tells me Jesus is a funny guy. And he speaks in my nomenclature, the nomenclature of my time, right? Like, this is amazing. So this dude finds a Bible, turns to the front, inside front cover. There's a personalized message. Nick, keep on trucking, love Jesus. Or probably Jesus, if we're assuming that this dude was probably Hispanic. Because there's a lot of people named Jesus.
There are.
In the Hispanic world. Some of them are even like, you know, I bet there's a Jesus here in town.
There is.
There is? Okay. In our little town of 8,000, Cody confirms there's a Jesus here.
He goes by Jesse, but his real name is
I can
Jesus.
see why. This carries, if you get named that, does it carry a lot of pressure? We needed to have a Jesus on.
This is the things that we miss out on when we don't plan ahead.
Like, how many people that are named Jesus go through life and hear like this a lot? Well, man, your namesake wouldn't have done that. Your namesake wouldn't have thrown a rock at your sister.
Well, when you read through like the lineages in the Bible, there's a lot of holy names that we would put with people from the Bible in it. And it's like, did they often get compared to like, well, you're nothing like King David. How dare you? You're not a man after God's own heart.
I mean, the funny thing about that sort of thing is like, okay, so I'm Dave. My name's David. And when you find out that like, oh, my name derives from this famous Jewish king, Judean king, and like, that's a cool thing. And then you, like, I wasn't a Christian. Then become a Christian. I read the Bible, and David does a lot of great things. But then you get to some of the not great things, and you're like, bro,
you're giving old David's a bad name.
Like, oh man, he's totally human. But to be named Jesus, that's something else. Like, feels like there's a lot of pressure riding on that.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we should have this guy on the radio. Because I want to understand like the thought process here. So he finds this old Bible. I mean, like when I tell you it looks like a Bible that came from a church in the 80s that was just a pew copy, you know?
I'd say 70s or 80s.
It says Holy Bible in the front. And it's that weird, nasty brown color. And on the inside of the cover, I mean, this Bible's seen wear. I mean, you seen that second picture.
Oh, yeah.
Like the spine's kind of falling apart. The pages are ripped a little bit. And so this Bible got some use. And on the inside cover, it says, Nick, keep on trucking. Love Jesus. And this dude naturally assumed, man, this is a copy signed by Jesus. I just want to get inside this guy's thought process. First of all, I want to know where he's at. Like, really, does he really think that, or is he just playing along with it? Because it's funny. Like he's asking $20,000 for it, which, the weird thing about our culture is I could see someone actually paying that for it. Someone with just a lot of money to throw around who's kind of likes the goof of it.
I will give you a $20 bill.
I might give him $20 for this Bible. It'd be great at parties.
And then I would give it to my sister, which her name's Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, Jesus gave you a nickname.
And he said, keep on trucking. It makes me wonder if Nick was a trucker and so was Jesus.
That would be great.
It would be. But yeah,
I would like the backstory of it.
This absolutely made my day, and it just makes me want to know more. So I'm going to look this up on Facebook Marketplace, I think.
Do it.
And just, I want to, maybe he'll be on the radio show with us. Do you think we get him on the radio show? Yeah. Like if he hasn't sold it already.
Maybe.
This is hilarious. I'm going to share it to our Facebook. So you can see it there on KFEX's Facebook. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe Pop Culture Pastor's Facebook. We'll see. Hey, everybody. Dave here. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, which is sort of our odds and ends left over from our radio show. If you want to listen to our radio show, you can tune in to KFEX. That's website is kfex931.com. We would appreciate that, and so would they. We are on every day, weekday, noon to 4, so check us out there. Also, as always, please subscribe to the podcast if you're not already. Give us a 5-star review if you're on a listening platform that allows that, and leave us a review too. Write something nice about us. Share our posts. Follow our posts on social media so you can share our posts with your friends. Tell them why you love to listen to the Pop Culture Pastor podcast. That helps us out. We want all this to happen because we want to grow the community. We go out to comic conventions so we can be around you guys and keep growing the community. And that's what we want, man. We're all about the love. And let's get out there and let's love on each other and let's have community and let's look to the culture like something different. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll be back.